presentations. These can be seen live on our Facebook and our YouTube channels as well. Thank you so much for so enthusiastically participating and kickstarting our Diwali in the right way. We're very excited after that spiritual high that we felt after watching all those presentations. We may think, how can we go more higher spiritually from that? But we have here because we have His Grace Amarendra Prabhu here, who obviously knows the secrets on how we can just keep going higher and higher and feel more bliss and more bliss all the time. For those of you who are not familiar with Amarendra Prabhu is a disciple of His Holiness Radha Govinda Maharaj, and he is known worldwide for giving beautiful classes that go deep into Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ramayana, Mahabharata, talking about, and his classes are so powerful that we feel like we've taken an express trip to there. Now, especially in COVID, where we're all kind of confined to our homes or our home offices or wherever we are at, hearing from Amarendra Prabhu literally ports us to a destination that we didn't think would be possible to go in this lifetime. So without much further ado, we're extremely honored and excited that Prabhu is joining us this Diwali to share with us some importance and significance of Diwali. So as we have all day now to celebrate Diwali, we hope that this class gives the right inspiration for the rest of the day on how to set the mood for Diwali. So thank you so much, Amarendra Prabhu. Over to you.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. I feel very honored to be here. Of course, with this COVID lockdown, I couldn't have made it to Austin, Texas, but this is the fastest way that we all could meet for Diwali. First of all, before we get into any of the discussions for today, happy Diwali to all of you. For all those who are joining us and all those who will watch this later, watching on YouTube or Facebook or later as recordings, heartfelt wishes, best wishes for you and your family, materially and spiritually. May this Diwali welcome Sri Ram into the Ayodhya of your hearts. May the darkness of all of our confusions and bewilderments and anxieties be completely dispelled by the lamplight of devotional love. And may all of us stay connected through thick and thin to welcome the Supreme Lord, not just personally, but collectively in the devotional world. So thank you. Special gratitude to Ram Vijay Prabhu for kindly reaching out and affectionately welcoming me into this devotional community. Thank you, Mahasundari Mataji, for introducing. I don't deserve any of that, and it's always a tough task. I sometimes it's better if the introduction is not done, because then I don't have to meet any bar of expectation. I can because I have no clue what I'm going to speak. But my special gratitude to the management of the ISKCON of Round Rock Center. My special gratitude to all the devotees joining us from different parts of America, different parts of the world for this virtual event, the celebration of Diwali 2020. We will be discussing on the Ramayana today. After all of those presentations and bhajans on Krishna Leela, we will switch to Ram Leela in Treta Yuga and find the wonderful, wonderful significance of Diwali and welcoming Sri Ram into Ayodhya from the pages of Valmiki Ramayana, as celebrated for so many thousands and thousands of years by so many Rama Bhaktas around the world. So we'll quickly chant the introductory auspicious invocation prayers in Sanskrit, called as the Mangalacharana prayers. And for those of us who are joining us for the first time, you can just hear these prayers. You don't have to get overwhelmed. Just stay tuned. After the prayers, we have the discussion starting in English. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Shri Rama Rama Raghunandana Rama Rama Shri Rama Rama Bharatagraja Rama Rama Shri Rama Rama Ranakarkasha Rama Rama Shri Rama Rama Sharanam Bhava Rama Rama Mata Ramo Matpita Ramachandraha Swami Ramo Matsakha Ramachandraha Sarvaswam me Ramachandro Dayalo Nanyam Jane Naiva Jane Na Jane. Hare Krishna. So of course, everyone knows that Deepavali is the time to, of course, to clean our homes, welcome the guests, lit or light lamps, wear new clothes, share greetings and postings all over the place on social media, make sweets for the Lord. And of course, when the COVID situation is there, things are a little different, but generally you have friends coming over, guests coming over. It's celebrated a little differently in America, celebrated very different in India. Of course, Diwali is oftentimes synonymously seen with firecrackers. I don't know where that tradition comes from. It is definitely not found in the scriptures. It's not found in the Ramayana. It's not found in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And definitely it's not nature friendly. But having said that, Deepavali is also seen synonymous with happiness, with light, with joy, with festivity. All over social media, we see people offering greetings to one another. Happy Deepavali, happy Deepavali. So there's definitely a social tradition of Deepavali. There's an external practice that we're all aware of. We have rangolis put out of outside our houses. We get even our deities to wear newer clothes on Deepavali. So many things happen on Deepavali. But my heart really goes down to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada in gratitude because he added the spiritual significance, and at least he opened my eyes to the spiritual side of all of these festivals. If I wouldn't have heard from Srila Prabhupada, I wouldn't have been under his transcendental auspices. I would have also thought that Diwali is just a social festival. It's a time of enthusiastic pomp and celebration. But with time, when we forget the spiritual significance, the backbone, the heart behind the festival, then all that remains is the honey bottle without the honey. The honey bottle is the structure, the celebration, the social celebration, the external structure, we could say, of welcoming any festival. But the presence of the honey inside is the heart, is the spiritual significance. So Srila Prabhupada would always connect everything back to Krishna, everything back to Sri Rama. Externally, we know, some of us are aware that Diwali is the time when Sri Ram entered Ayodhya. But you would be shocked to know that according to statistics that some some researchers have done, they have seen that more than 78% of the people who celebrate a festival, they're not even aware of why they're celebrating what they're celebrating. So for example, you ask someone on Ram Navami what happened. They know it's something to do with Sri Ram, and you will be amazed and you will be shocked to know that there are people who know it's something to do with Ram, but they don't know that it's the appearance day of Sri Ram. Many of them are even confused that probably that's the day of the marriage of Sita and Ram. Then going ahead to Ram Vijayotsava or Dasera that we celebrated a few days ago. They set a figure, so to speak, of the representation of Ravana, and they set that on fire, or they set it ablaze, just as practice, just as social norm. But again, no idea of what the heart of the event is. And same to do with Diwali. It's something to do with Deepa, definitely, because the word Deepavali, Deepa means lamps and Avali means rows of lamps. So it's definitely something to do with lamps. But what the spiritual significance is, as much as 78% are unaware. So it's very important that, of course, we dress well, we clean our homes every day, we make sweets for the Lord, and we light lamps, etc., the rangoli, etc. The external expression is always welcome, but the external expression must be an effect of the internal explosion. The external expression must be an effect, or that must be a result of an internal explosion. And what is that internal explosion? That is the reason, the significance, the importance of the event. Of course, from Krishna Leela's perspective, from the pastime of Sri Krishna in Dwapar Yuga, Diwali is the day when Krishna was bound by the ropes of love by his mother Yashoda. And then he dragged that wooden grinding motor. So he was tied by ropes to a wooden grinding motor around his belly. And Krishna was only 3 years old. And Krishna, as a baby, he dragged that heavy wooden grinding motor, which followed him. And then that was stuck between two trees. And then Krishna, by the power potency of his supreme majesty, he uprooted and liberated those two trees. And these two trees fell, and they were the sons of Kubera, Manigriva and Nala Kubera. So Krishna liberated the sons of Kubera, Manigriva and Nala Kubera, in Dwapar Yuga, and that happened on the day of Deepavali. But if you actually think about it, there is a great sense of commonality between two pastimes. The pastime of Krishna in Dwapar Yuga and the pastime of Sri Ram in Treta Yuga. In Treta Yuga, Sri Ram, on the day of Deepavali, he comes back home after 14 years of being exiled, after being banished, after being ousted from his own kingdom by an inconceivable conspiracy, an inconceivable reversal, an inconceivable turn of events. Sri Ram went into the forest, but after 14 years, after completing that exile period, he comes back to his home. And the whole city of Ayodhya welcomes him with rows of lamps. That pastime takes place in Treta Yuga. And in Dwapar Yuga, it's Krishna who's chastised, who's reprimanded, who's punished by his mother, and at the same time bound with ropes of love so that he can stop his mischief of breaking butter pots. So what's the commonality between these two pastimes? One is Krishna Leela, one is Ram Leela, one is Dwapar Yuga, one is Treta Yuga. So they're definitely apart as far as time is concerned. And it's the same person, it's the same Supreme Lord. But what is the commonality? Well, the commonality is in Dwapar Yuga, God leaves his home on the day of Diwali, runs out of his home out of the fear of his mother. That is Krishna running out of his home out of fear of Mother Yashoda. And in Treta Yuga, Sri Ram runs into his home to touch the lotus feet of his mother after she exiled him. This is the significance of Deepavali. On one side in Krishna Leela, God leaves his own home, running in fear of Mother Yashoda on the day of Deepavali. And in Treta Yuga, Sri Ram, God comes home, running home on the day of Deepavali to first touch the feet of Mother Kaikeyi, who mysteriously banished him, being his own mother, out of his own home. Also, another commonality we see is that in Krishna Leela, the two sons of Kuber, Manigriva and Nala Kubera, were liberated. And in Treta Yuga, in Ramchandra's Leela, not the sons of Kuber, but the brother of Kuber, that is Ravana, was liberated by a battle where Sri Ram, he killed Ravana, destroyed his demoniac propensities, and liberated him from that materialistic bondage. So, dear devotees, a lot can be said as the difference and the similarity between these two pastimes. But today, in the next 1 hour or so, we'll focus our attention very specifically on the Treta Yuga pastime of Sri Ram returning home to Ayodhya. And this will be strictly based on the pages of the Valmiki Ramayana. Kujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakam Vande Valmiki Kokilam Valmiki Munisimhasya Kavita Vanacharinaha Shrunvan Rama Kathanadam Konu Yantim Paramgatim. It has been described that the presentation of Valmiki Muni is as sweet as the singing of a cuckoo bird, while the principles, the lessons, the significant lessons that we can learn from these pastimes is like the roar of a lion. So Valmiki is compared to a lion, at the same time he's compared to a sweet singing bird. As far as the bird is concerned, he's sitting on the branch of poetry. And as far as the lion is concerned, he's roaring and moving around in the forest of poetry. Well, this comparison in itself is very poetic. So Valmiki Muni's presentation, the flow, the sweet sound of the verses, 24,000 Sanskrit verses composition in the Valmiki Ramayana, when it is heard, it's as sweet. The choice of words, the choice of presentation is as sweet as the singing of a cuckoo. While the deep message, the significant message, is like the roaring of a lion. So let us tap into these beautiful, wonderful pastimes, especially the return of Sri Ram back to Ayodhya. There could be enough said about the battle between Ram and Ravana, but in the interest of time and not going too much behind the topic, we will start from the point where the battle has already been done. And even according to the calendar, we know we have already celebrated Dasera. So Ravana is already dead. Sri Ram has already destroyed Ravana. We'll continue from that point, going ahead towards Ram's entrance into Ayodhya. Ravana had many wives, and the most prominent one, as we know, was Mandodari. And she was lamenting the departure of her dear husband. After Ravana was killed in Lanka, Sri Ram ordered his brother, Ravana's brother Vibhishan, to cremate the body of Ravana, because Ravana was dead now. All of his 10 heads fell down miserably to the ground as Sri Ram killed him. So after he was dead, Sri Ram, he ordered the brother of Ravana, that is Vibhishan, said, now you should cremate the body of your brother. You should get done with the last rites. Vibhishan, of course, did not desire. He said the older brother was adharmic, which means he was irreligious. He was acting sinful. He was going against scriptures. He would torture anyone and everyone, because literally the word Ravana means he who can make others cry for our own pleasure. He who for his own personal pleasure can make others cry is Ravana. And the city of tears is called Lanka. So Vibhishan said at this point, I don't desire to cremate, or I know he's my older brother, but I don't desire to cremate his body, because he's lived against scriptures. He's tortured anyone and everyone, made everyone cry for his smile. He's kidnapped wives, not just of Sri Ram, but he's kidnapped wives of so many men. Not everyone comes up with an uproaring battle like Sri Ram, but there were so many who were captives. So many of them were tortured. So many of them were killed. So many of them were imprisoned. And Vibhishan said, I don't want to cremate him. Let his body just be eaten up by animals. I don't want to cremate. So Sri Ram said, yes, you're right. He's been adharmic, but that's only as much as the war goes. Now he's dead. He's gone. The body's fallen to the ground. Don't hold any negative emotions against him. Just cremate him. So then the needful was done. Sri Ram ordered Lakshman that now you should coronate Vibhishan as the king of Lanka. You should perform the royal coronation pastime, the Rajya Abhishek for Vibhishan, announcing Vibhishan now to be the king of Lanka. So Lakshman made all the arrangements for this event. And the residents of Lanka were very happy. Although Vibhishan was the brother of Ravana, he was an exception. He was very different than Surpanakha and Ravana and Kumbhakarna. So the residents of Lanka, they came ahead congratulating the newly coronated king, that is Vibhishan. They gifted many wonderful gifts to Vibhishan. And Valmiki Muni describes that Vibhishan offered all of them to Sri Ram, because he knew whatever talents we have, whatever ability we have, whatever post we hold, they're ultimately all the gifts of God. And they come from him and they must go to him. So Vibhishan, he received all the gifts with gratitude and gave it all of them without holding anything for himself. He gave all of that to Sri Ram, who's the Supreme Lord. Then after that, Sri Ram, he ordered Hanuman. He told Hanuman, now you please go to Ashok Vatika, the Ashoka tree garden. That's the place where Mother Sita was kept by Ravana. Go and tell Mother Sita that Ravana is dead and that Ram is now ready to rescue you. He's come. Please be ready. Hanuman happily jumped. He was ecstatic. He was waiting for this day. And he went there and he shared the good news with Mother Sita. He told Mother Sita that Ravana is gone. Not just one head, all his 10 heads are gone. He has unlimited heads. One after another, the heads would pop out. And Sri Ram has destroyed him. And the whole of Lanka is celebrating. Vibhishan has been coronated as the new king of Lanka. Dear mother, the Lord of your life, Sri Ram, is here. Please be ready. He's come all the way just to rescue you. And Mother Sita was very, very happy. She was telling Hanuman that please go and tell Sri Ram that I am very happy to hear this news. I have been waiting and praying and dreaming for this day. And then now I'm very happy that my dream has completely fructified and come out in reality. At that point, Hanuman looked at all the Rakshasis, the female associates of Ravana, who were actually guarding this garden of Ashoka trees as the associates of Mother Sita. So Hanuman asked Mother Sita, these Rakshasis around, they would have definitely troubled you. Now that their master Ravana is gone, now that the brothers of Ravana are all gone, this Indrajit is gone, everyone's destroyed. If you want, oh Mother Sita, I can even destroy all these Rakshasis, but I just need your permission. I am a brahmachari. I cannot kill them. But if they have troubled you, just by the movement of your eyebrow, you can sanction. And I will take that as an approval and go and kill all of them. Please just approve. Mother Sita, being the mother of the whole universe, Ishanam Jagatosya Venkatapater Vishnu Param Prayasi Tad Vakshasthala Nityavasarasikam Tat Kshanti Samvardhinim Padmalankrita Pani Pallavayugam Padmasanastham Shriyam Vatsalyadi Gunojwalam Bhagavatim Vande Jaganmatharam. Mother Sita has been described very wonderfully. Ishanam Jagatosya Venkatapate Vishnu Param Prayasi. She is the Paraprayasi. Mother Sita is the goddess who rules the heart of Sri Ram. And Tad Vakshasthala Nityavasarasikam Tat Kshanti Samvardhinim. She always resides in the heart of Sri Ram, and she is the one who increases the good qualities of Sri Ram while residing in his heart. And Padmalankrita Pani Pallavayugam Padmasanastham Shriyam. Mother Sita always wears flower garlands around her neck. Her hands and legs are in the shape of flowers, as soft as flowers, as beautiful as flowers. And in her hand also she holds a flower. And when she sits in the lotus pose. So the garland is made of lotus flowers. Hands and legs are in the shape of lotus flowers. In that lotus hand, she's holding a lotus flower. Her legs are also crossed in a lotus position. And then she's sitting on top of lotuses also. Padmalankrita Pani Pallava Yugam Padmasanastham Shriyam. You see the word Padma used so many times. Padma means lotus. And Vatsalyadi Gunojwalam Bhagavatim Vande Jaganmatharam. Mother Sita is the complete personification of Vatsalya, which means motherly love. So she could have never approved Hanuman for killing all the female associates of Ravana. She would never do that because she has the heart of a mother. Some commentators on the Ramayana even come up with a very beautiful analysis. They say, should you take shelter of Sri Ram or should you take shelter of Mother Sita? And they contrast both of these scenarios with respect to Hanuman. They say when Hanuman went from the side of Sri Ram towards Mother Sita, then what happened? His tail was set on fire. When Hanuman went from the side of Sri Ram towards Mother Sita, he went from the side of Sri Ram without Mother Sita. So then when he went there, his tail was set on fire. But instead, when he went back from the side of Mother Sita towards Sri Ram, his tail was not set on fire. Instead, he got the embrace of Sri Ram. When he went from the side of Sri Ram, he didn't get the embrace of Sri Ram. Also, he faced so many sea monsters on the way. And then tail being set on fire. But when he went from the side of Mother Sita He didn't face any obstacles on the ocean. His tail was not set on fire. And instead of touching the lotus feet of Sri Ram, he got the embrace of Sri Ram. So therefore they say, if you want to take sides with Mother Sita. Take shelter of the lotus feet of Mother Sita. As we always say, take shelter of the lotus feet of Lakshmi Devi to tap into the mercy of Narayan. Take shelter of Mother Sita to tap into the mercy of Sri Ram. Take the shelter of the lotus feet of Radharani to tap the mercy of Sri Krishna. So always the pleasure potency, when we take shelter, then we get the mercy of the energetic. And we see even in this world, I wouldn't make a blanket statement, but at least in my home, we can always see that sometimes when the father, chastises the child and he gets heavy on the child for not studying, etc., then what does the child do? Take shelter of the mother. And the mother comes between the child and the father and balances the situation. So in most homes, the child takes shelter of the mother and then approaches the father. And many times you can see the child wants to tell something to the father, will tell the mother, why don't you tell him that I have to go out with my friends? And then the mother will nicely sugarcoat it and then present it to the father. So where is that quality coming of taking shelter of the mother to make a point to the father? It's taking shelter of Mother Sita, or taking shelter of Lakshmi Devi, taking shelter of Radharani to impress upon the mercy factor from the heart of the Supreme Lord. So here Hanuman asks Mother Sita that if you can just give me the approval, I can kill all these Rakshasis. And at that time, Mother Sita says, actually, it's just my karma. They are faultless. They're just instruments who came and facilitated the reactions of my activities. I am the sinful one. It's my past life karma. Mother Sita is teaching us to take responsibility for our struggle. Nayam janome sukha dukkha heto na devatatma griha karma kala mana param karanam amananti samsara chakram parivartayetyat. You can find in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam this verse which mentions that we ourselves are responsible for our distress in life. Nobody else. They may be the agent, the instrument for facilitating it, but we ourselves are responsible. So Mother Sita said, it's my own karma, so you don't have to kill anybody. Ravana was a demon and they worked according to him, so they are faultless. And according to dharma, even if they have faults, even if they are responsible, even if they are the one who have been cruel to me in their dealings, still from my side, we must forgive. A sin is never counteracted with another sin. And then Valmiki Muni describes Mother Sita told a very nice story to Hanuman, just like you see mothers sometimes to make a point to their little child. When the child doesn't understand, the mother will explain with a story. So Hanuman is like a baby to Mother Sita. So then Mother Sita tells a very nice story. Mother Sita tells the story of a hunter. She says that there's a hunter who gets into the forest. And after getting into the forest, the hunter, he's going to hunt, but then he gets chased. He's chased after by a tiger. Tiger starts chasing this hunter, and the hunter runs for his life. He doesn't know what to do. And then he climbs up a tree to take shelter. He feels that this tiger is too heavy to jump on a tree. So he climbs up on top of a tree. And the tiger is looking down, looking from the surface, and looks up, roaring, waiting for the man to fall, waiting for the hunter to leave. But then when the hunter climbs up the tree and looks to his left, he sees a bear sitting there on top of the branch of the tree. There's a little bear sitting there. So this hunter is thinking, oh, here, the bear is ready to scratch me to death. And if I fall, there's a tiger ready to devour me. So that time, Mother Sita says, the tiger looked at the bear and said, why don't you push this man down? You push this man down, then I can eat him. Now I'm not able to eat him. So the bear told the tiger, no, this man is helpless and he's taken shelter of me. He's taken shelter of my house. So I cannot push him down like that. So then the tiger thought, okay, now let me switch. Let me switch the sides. Let me turn the tables and then turn it against the bear. The tiger looked at the man, the hunter, and said, if you want me to not eat you, then you push the bear down. You push the bear down, I'll eat the bear, and then my stomach will be full, then I don't have to eat you. I'll let you go. After all, the human, unfortunately, is a human. So the hunter pushed the bear down. But by the supreme protection, the will of providence, the bear fell from the tree but held onto a branch. And the branch was about to crack down, but still he was holding there. But he didn't fall. So the tiger looked at the bear and now turned sides and told the bear, look, you were trying to protect this human. He comes into your house and he pushes you down. Now you please push him down. You saw his true nature. You just pushed this human down. I'll eat him. Then your life will be saved. So the tiger was trying to take one side after another so that he wanted to have his meal. But here's the interesting thing. The bear is fortunately an animal. And the hunter, unfortunately, is a human with a human heart. So the bear looked at the tiger and said, he pushed me down, and that's his nature. But my nature is not to push him down. I'm just trying to climb up and be with him in the same house. So Mother Sita tells the story to Hanuman and says that they could be like the human and I could be like the bear. Maybe they tried to push me down, although I tried to give them shelter with good advice. But still, just like the bear did not try to retaliate and push the human down, similarly, O Hanuman, I don't desire to push them down the throat of death. I don't want them to die. They may have acted whatever they wanted against me, but I remember this story that man defines himself by pushing the bear down, and the bear defines himself by protecting the man. So similarly, Mother Sita said, they may have done whatever atrocities against me, but I will not trouble them. So you should let them go. Don't think of killing them. Instead, focus on sharing the good news to Sri Ram. Go and tell him that I'm very happy. I've been waiting for this day. Parallelly, Ram ordered Vibhishan to make nice arrangements for Mother Sita to bathe and get ready with nice clothes and ornaments before she comes in front of him, because Mother Sita has been living in the groves for a long time now in separation from Sri Ram. So then Sri Ram wanted her to be comfortable as she's well dressed, well ornamented as she comes in front of Sri Ram. Mother Sita comes and their eyes meet. Sita and Ram's eyes meet. But Sri Ram is very grave. Dear devotees, now the section that I'm about to mention, I want you to hear this very patiently, very attentively, and not jump to conclusions. Sri Ram was very grave at this point. Ram looked at Mother Sita. Mother Sita said, you see, you don't look happy. You look very grave. What's the matter? Sri Ram said, my long-standing desire has been fulfilled. I didn't kill Ravan just to protect you. I killed Ravana because there was a blemish on the character or on the lineage of the Ikshvaku line, the Surya Vansha line, the Shola dynasty coming from the sun god. And I, as one of those descendants coming down in that dynasty, could not have lived my life seeing a blemish, not just on my personal capability and competency with my wife being kidnapped, but at the same time, I wanted to restore the pride and the honor and dignity of this whole lineage. So a long-standing desire has been fulfilled. But at the same time, oh Sita, I want to tell you something which is there in my heart, said Sri Ram. You have been living in Lanka for a long time. Lanka is not a place of purity. It's a place of pollution. And Ravana, we all are aware how lusty Ravana is, said Sri Ram. He abducts the wives of other men. And it's very hard for me to believe, said Sri Ram, that for such a long time you've been there in a place of pollution, in the Ashoka grove of the lusty Ravana. It's very difficult for me to believe that you're still pure. O Sita, if you wish, you can pick any of my brothers. You can pick Lakshman. You can pick Bharat. You can pick anybody. Mother Sita was in tears. Situation became very grave and sad. Mother Sita felt offended, and she looked at Sri Ram and she said, how is it that you can speak to me like this in public after such a long span of separation? How could you even think of some presence of pollution? Mother Sita said, one quality that I've never forgotten and I will never forget is chastity and loyalty to one's husband. I am definitely Janaki. I am the daughter of Janak Maharaj. But Sri Ram, it is worth remembering and noting that I was born from Mother Earth, who's all pure. My birth is divine, and my character, therefore, the ideal principles that the ideals that I hold in life, the principles that I hold in life, are all first class. It's hard for me to hear what you just said. When Hanuman was sent to find me, you could have just sent that message then and there. I would have committed suicide long time ago. Why did you even go through this war? So much bloodshed, so many people died. Ravana was killed. So many soldiers had to face death. So many women got widowed. And now, when I'm rescued, you're saying that you can't accept me. Mother Sita decided that I will enter fire. And at that point, Ram didn't say anything. He hinted to Lakshmana to go in that direction and set the fire. Mother Sita had her palms folded, and Lakshmana was furious. He was not understanding what's happening. No one understood. The whole place was filled with shock and disbelief, with pin drop silence. Lakshmana was furious, but he had taken this vow of following the instructions of Sri Ram completely. Mother Sita folded her palms in front of that fire that Lakshmana had set. And Mother Sita said, "O Agni Devta, O fire god, I am pure even in my mind. The purity in my mind also cannot be doubted. What to speak of purity in words and purity in character and activities? I'm going to enter you, O fire, O demigod in charge of fire. You protect me." And saying this, Mother Sita entered fire, and there was a big hue and cry in that assembly. The women in that situation couldn't understand. There was a big lump of emotion in their throat, and they couldn't spit it out, and they couldn't swallow it down their throat. They were not happy. They couldn't fathom what was happening. Sri Ram, who is the complete manifestation, the complete epitome, the complete personification of transcendental good qualities. Konu asmin sampratam loke gunavan kascha viryavan dharmajnascha kritajnascha satyavakyo dridabhrataha. How could Sri Ram ask Mother Sita to enter fire? There was a big confusion that was there, bewilderment, you could say, in the whole situation. Women were confused, and monkeys were all confused. All the monkeys who fought for Sri Ram, they waited and waited and waited. They were previously pushing each other to have darshan of Mother Sita when she was coming out, and now they were all confused and worried and bewildered as to what was happening. Vibhishan was actually pushing the monkeys back when they were hitting each other to have darshan, the first darshan of Mother Sita. Vibhishan pushed them back to say, you cannot look at Sri Ram's wife with enthusiasm like this. At that time, Sri Ram had said, no problem. Even during Swayamvar, the wife is glanced upon by so many men. So Mother Sita is, their mood is that of surrender and submission. So they can glance at Mother Sita. So then those monkeys who fought to look at Mother Sita, now they were confused. Mother Sita is gone. She had entered fire. That Mother Sita for whom the whole battle was fought, for whom Ravana was killed, that Mother Sita who became thin, who was crying and weeping in separation from Ram. She had entered into fire. The demigods were shocked. Brahmaji appeared to the scene. And Brahma looked at Ram and said, Ram, know your identity. You are the Supreme Lord. Please know your identity. Please display your divinity. This act is not befitting you. This is not befitting you. Please display your divinity. Know your true nature. And everyone here is your devotee. Please display your divinity. Sri Ram at that time looked at Brahma and said, I know myself only as the son of Dasharath Maharaj, Dasharath Nandan. If you think I have an identity better than that, please kindly enlighten me. So Hanuman, please forgive me, Brahmaji at that point, he said, you're actually the Supreme Lord, Sri Ram. And Mother Sita is Lakshmi. She is your eternal consort. Please quickly wrap up this tough pastime. It's very difficult and hard for all of us to believe. Please wrap up this pastime. And at that time, Sri Ram smiled. And Mother Sita reappeared from fire. And to everyone's amazement, there was not even one strand of hair on her body was burnt. Mother Sita was as effulgent as before. Her skin, her dress, her ornaments were all dazzling in effulgence. And Agni Dev, the Lord of Fire, the demigod in charge of fire, he also appeared. And he announced, offering his obeisances to Sri Ram, O Supreme Lord, O cause of all causes, O eternal Lord of all demigods, Mother Sita is pure in thought, word, and deed, and there's no trace of impurity. Sri Ram smiled, and he looked at Agni, and he said, you think I didn't know that? I knew. I always know the purity of Mother Sita. There's never a tinge of doubt. But the reason I had this pastime in public, so that once she's announced as the Queen of Ayodhya, after I'm coronated as the king, no common man will criticize her for her character. I wanted this public display of purity so that this will spread like a wildfire and everyone will glorify the purity of Mother Sita. And for that, even if they criticize me, that is okay. In previous case, they would have glorified me for my return, but they would have doubted the character of Mother Sita. But now by this pastime, they may criticize me thinking that I doubted her. Of course, I did not. I know her purity. They would doubt me. They would criticize me. They would belittle my character. But I am very, very happy to announce that the whole world will glorify the purity of the character of Mother Sita. Also, it is for me to announce to the world that I did not fight Ravana and beat him down because I'm a lusty young man who wants a wife. This is not why I defeated Ravana. So by Mother Sita entering fire and coming out self-effulgent, I am declaring to the whole world that she is Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, and she is not an object to be lusted upon. At that time, everyone erupted in joy. Everyone smiled. There were tears of happiness coming down the eyes of all the assembled devotees. They could not believe what they were seeing. They could not believe the twists and turns of emotions. It was a struggle for them because they had only two eyes and they had the whole form of Sita and Ram to glance upon. Lord Shiva came. Lord Shiva came, he embraced Sri Ramchandra and said, your father Dasharath Maharaj is now in heaven. He is in Indra's abode and he's actually in a heavenly form. And he's looking upon you. He's from there, from heaven, he's glancing. Sri Ram looked up, following the words of Lord Shiva. And as Sri Ram looked up, he saw his father Dasharath Maharaj, Now, point to be noted is this is after the departure of Dasharath Maharaj, because we know Dasharath Maharaj had left his body. So now Sri Ram saw Dasharath Maharaj in the sky in his celestial chariot, and Dasharath Maharaj descended on his chariot from the sky on the surface of Mother Earth with a dazzling, effulgent, transcendental, divine form. And Sri Ram bowed down and touched his head at the lotus feet of Dasharath Maharaj. And Dasharath Maharaj at that time looked at Ram, embraced him and said, I bless you, my son. I bless you. Just by my word, you went into exile for 14 years. And little did we all know about how many twists and turns your exile pastime is going to take. And who would have imagined the kidnapping of Mother Sita and you building a bridge of stones and killing this Ravana? My heart was bleeding, said Dasharath Maharaj, that you were ousted, you were exiled for 14 years. I was waiting for this day when you will return back after 14 years of exile. Dasharath Maharaj said, I'm happy that you're coming back. Go to Ayodhya. My eyes are hungry and thirsty to see your return back into the kingdom of Ayodhya and to see you sit on the royal throne and get coronated as the king. Dasharath Maharaj said, I have been living even after my departure in a divine form in the kingdom of Indra, waiting, counting my days for your return. Sri Ramchandra, with eyes filled with tears of love for his father, he said, Oh Father, I am here present only for your service. With your order, with your command, I am ready to execute. But oh Father, I am begging you for one boon. Dasharath Maharaj said, you can ask for two. Ramchandra said, I wouldn't. There's only one boon I want to ask you. Dasharath Maharaj said, what is it? Ramchandra said, when Mother Kaikeyi asked you for the boons, you criticized Mother Kaikeyi. You criticized Bharat. And you broke all relationships and all material ties with both of them. And you said, I don't know any of you. Both of you. I have no relation with both of you. And these were your words. Sri Ramchandra told Dasharath Maharaj, the boon that I'm requesting is that their hearts have been bruised and scarred with these words of yours. And post your departure, they just accepted that those were your last words to them, that they mean nothing to you. Oh Father, my request to you, the only boon I'm asking, please take these words back. Dasharath Maharaj said, happily I will take them back immediately. Dasharath Maharaj embraced Sri Ram and he said, you have such kind heart that as boon, your mother asked to send you out, but as boon, you're asking me to forgive her and accept her. I know for sure, Sri Ram, you are Vishnu yourself. You came down just to kill this demoniac force of Ravana. At that point, Dasharath Maharaj looked at Lakshman and said, oh Lakshman, you are so glorious. You have been serving Sita and Ram like their shadow. And even in the future, always remember, Sri Ram is God. He's the Lord of your life. And come what may, never leave his service. Then Dasharath Maharaj looked at Mother Sita and said, hey Sita, never ever lament. Never ever lament and never ever doubt Sri Ram's character. Never doubt Sri Ram's intentions behind the pastime of entering the fire is concerned. Sri Ram did this as his father, I can tell you. He did this only to glorify you. And even in the future, you will be known for your purity as Mother Earth's best daughter. And Sri Ram, who is the best son of Mother Earth, just wanted to announce you as the best daughter. At that time, Indra also came. Dasharath Maharaj left to Indra's abode and Indra came. Indra descended. Indra had given his chariot and his charioteer to Ram. And Ram had got on the chariot and used the charioteer in his fight against Ravana. So when Indra came, Sri Ramchandra welcomed him with gratitude and said, oh Indra, please give me a boon. And Indra said, Sri Ram, you have come. Indrari vyakulam lokam mridayanti yuge yuge. Sri Ram, you came to destroy my enemies. You are a boon in my life. What boon can I give you? Sri Ramchandra said, the only boon I beg you, O Indra, is please revive all my monkey soldiers back. They selflessly gave their lives, and they couldn't even succeed being alive till the end. They gave up their lives in the middle of the battle, and they don't even know how Mother Sita looks like. They have never seen me being coronated as the king. They don't even know what Ayodhya is. They have never seen anything except me. And still they jumped in devotion for me. And they gave up their lives. They gave up all their families. They gave up their homes. They gave up their children. And putting their lives aside, they fought for my cause. Indra, please, I beg you, said Sri Ram. The only boon I ask is revive all my monkey soldiers back. Indra said, that is very difficult to do. But for your pleasure, my lord, I will revive each one of them. It's interesting. It is Sri Ram's energy that Indra is using for Ram's pleasure. Ram can do it. Ram is the creator of the monkeys. Ram is in fact the creator, maintainer, and destroyer of everything that exists. He's the one who made Indra Indra. He's the one who gave Indra the position of Indra. And Sri Ram, because he's performing human-like pastimes, as a boon, he's asking Indra, you please revive all these monkeys back. And Indra is using the empowerment given by Ram for the pleasure of Sri Ram. All the monkeys woke up as Indra cast his magical, mystical spell on them. And by the power of his mystic potency, all the monkeys woke up. And they felt as if they woke up from sleep. They were all rubbing their eyes and looking at each other as if they had so many hours of sleep. But suddenly when the monkeys started talking to each other and they looked around, they could see a battlefield. They could see dead, headless bodies. They could see bloodshed. At that time, they discussed with one another and they understood that they were also dead and they were revived back to life by the arrangement of Sri Ram. At that time, Vibhishan stepped ahead and he told Sri Ram and Mother Sita that, oh divine couple, oh Lord of my life, please don't leave me. I have been here all alone in Lanka, just remembering your lotus feet. Please don't leave me, my Lord. I want to make some arrangement for your sightseeing and for your entertainment here in Lanka. Please give me a chance. Please stay here in Lanka with me. I am the king of Lanka now. I would like to serve you. Please stay with me for a few days. Sri Ram at that time said, oh Vibhishan, I will not be able to stay. We have to go because our brothers and our mothers are all waiting. We really need to go. If you really want to serve us, instead of serving us for sightseeing and entertainment and musical presentation here, if you really want to serve us, then you make some travel arrangement for us. We want to go back to Ayodhya. You please make some nice arrangement for us. So Vibhishan became very happy. And he gave the Pushpaka plane, the Pushpaka Viman to Ram. Now, what is the history of this Pushpaka Viman? We all know this Pushpaka Viman was a mystical, a humongous mystical, we could say transcendental to a great extent, airplane made by Vishwakarma, the architect of Indra. And it was actually the property of Kuber. But Ravana, the brother of Kubera, basically Ravana and Kubera had the same father, but they had different mothers because the father had multiple wives. So Ravana was born out of one wife and Kubera was born out of the other. So they were actually brothers from different mothers with the same father. So this Pushpak plane, very wonderfully, artistically constructed by Vishwakarma, the architect of the heaven, was actually this plane was the possession of Kuber. But this was stolen by Ravana. Ravana had stolen this plane and he was using for himself. Vibhishan took it back from Ravana after the death of Ravana, and he offered it to Sri Ram. He said, my lord, you can use this airplane and you can use this to go to Ayodhya. Vishwakarma had made this airplane completely out of gold, and the seats were made with jewels. And the airplane was so brilliantly designed that it would take wherever the mind desires. If the mind desires a certain destination, that's where the airplane would take. And the airplane had no maintenance needed, no question of accidents and runway and takeoff and pilots. It also didn't need any fueling. This airplane was so amazing that it had no consideration of how many seats you could accommodate, as many number of people you could get in. And nowadays we can see sometimes even the buses get crowded, especially in India. You see the buses are crowded, the trains are crowded, because the place is limited and the people getting in are unlimited. So they have to manage. Sometimes there are 4 people sitting in a place of 3 people, and sometimes even the 5th gets in there. And sometimes some friends are sitting on each other's laps, and some people are standing and sleeping. And you can see all of these scenes in the local train in India. But the Pushpak Viman was not like that. You could have 10 people inside, or you could have 10 million people, and no one stood. They all got a seat, a guaranteed seat. As the Pushpak Viman was invoked and was offered to Ram, Ram and Lakshman, they kept glancing at this Pushpak Viman, at how brilliantly it was designed. And everyone got in. They all climbed up. And as Sri Ram climbed up on the Pushpak Viman, he looked, turned back, and he looked towards the monkeys. And he told the monkeys, I am very grateful for all your hard work. I revived you back to life, but there's nothing more that I can give you. There's nothing that I have to give you. In return for all times to come, you have won my heart. And for all times to come, people will remember you for your love towards me. So therefore, as I prepare to return back to Ayodhya, all of you return back to Kishkinda. And Vibhishan, you return and continue to rule as the king of Lanka. At that time, Sugriva, the head of the monkeys, the head of Kishkinda, he came in front of Sri Ram. And on behalf of all the monkeys, he saw some restlessness and some chattering going on amidst the monkeys. The monkeys thought they're all going to Ayodhya with Sri Ram. But Sri Ram got onto the Pushpak Viman and turned towards them. In fact, told even Hanuman, you please gift all the monkeys nice ornaments and nice clothes, and let them return back to Kishkinda. So when the monkeys heard this, they were a little perplexed. So Sugriva, on behalf of all the monkeys, he requested Sri Ram that we all, the monkey soldiers of Sri Ram, we desire to complete this whole scene, this whole pastime, by coming with you to Ayodhya and seeing our Lord Sri Ram being coronated as the king of Ayodhya. And maybe after that, we will return back to Kishkinda if that is okay with you. And Sri Ram smiled. He understood the sincere devotional mood of all the monkeys, and he agreed. And Sugriva, he signaled to all the monkeys, and all the monkeys, they started screaming and jumping and dancing and, and singing in happiness. They all jumped and got onto the Pushpak Viman. Millions of them, you can imagine, millions of monkeys getting into an airplane. There was no waiting list, no monkeys standing for a spot. They all had a spot. They all had a sitting place. All the monkeys into that airplane, they were all fighting for the window seats. And as the Pushpak Viman took off, all of them inside were so comfortable, with no rush, with no crowd. Valmiki Muni says that it was so comfortable that no one even realized that they had hit mid-air. You see, the heavenly science is so subtle that it puts our scientific knowledge to shame. Our scientific knowledge is great, but their research seems like it's greater. The monkeys were all excited as they're looking through the windows, as they're talking to each other. They are very, very, very happy, anticipating how Ayodhya look like and how the residents of Ayodhya are going to welcome Ram back after 14 years. How Ram is going to look when he sits on the royal throne as the king of Ayodhya. And as they are moving in the air, Valmiki Muni describes Sri Ram starts speaking to Mother Sita. As the Pushpak Viman moves in the air, Sri Ram looks at Mother Sita and starts speaking about different places. As they cross over a place, Ram would point to that place from the airplane to Mother Sita and speak about that place. He would point at one place and say, you see that place? That is the place where so many of them were killed. That is the place where Ravana was killed. That's the place where Indrajit was killed. That's the place where Kumbhakarna fell to the ground. And oh Sita, do you see that place? That is the bridge, the oceanic bridge that we built. As they were going through different places on that airplane, Sri Ram started speaking about different stories. And then finally, as they came over Rameshwaram, he pointed to Rameshwaram, just above Rameshwaram. Sri Ram started speaking to Mother Sita and said, hey Sita, this Rameshwaram, this place marks, it denotes the beginning of the building of the bridge. And therefore, those who bathe here, they will become as pure as you. And because this was the benediction given by Sri Ram to bathing in Rameshwaram, even till this very day, we see people go there and bathe. When they went over Kishkinda, Mother Sita at that time told Sri Ram, can I make a suggestion? And Sri Ram said, yes, please. You can instruct me. Mother Sita said, oh Sri Ram, I am so happy to be with you, the Lord of my life. Similarly, I feel all the wives of the monkeys who were there in the airplane, they would also want to be with their husbands, because these monkeys, as representatives of Sugriva, they have fought for you and they've been away from their wives for such a long time. I feel it would be nice if we can stop the airplane here. We can take a break and we can invite all the women, all the wives of the monkeys to come over and join us in the airplane and we can take them with us. And Sri Ram said, that's a very good idea. So the Pushpak Viman landed and all the male monkeys, they felt very happy. Now they could reunite with their wives and their children. So they all went home and they told their wives, time to pack up. We're all going for a long trip. The wife said, where are we going? Said, we are going to Ayodhya. And that too, we are going in an airplane. It's wonderful. Till now, we've just been jumping, but now we can fly. And you know what? We're not just going to Ayodhya. We're not just flying in the air. We are going there with Sita and Ram sitting next to us. So all the family members, the women and the children in the monkey family, they were all very happy, very excited. They all jumped onto the Pushpak airplane and still there was no crowd. The Pushpak airplane was a very mystical, mysterious airplane. It again, once they got in, they settled, it again hit the midair as it took off. And now they were going over the Rishyamukh hill, the Rishyamukh Parvat. And that's the place Sri Ram starts speaking to Mother Sita again, pointing out to Rishyamukh Parvat that, you know, that's the place where I met Sugriva. As we all know, after Ram and Lakshman killed Kabandha, both Kshatriyas, they were walking and coming towards the Rishyamukh hill. And at that time, Sugriva was sitting there with Hanuman. And he sent Hanuman because he saw these two powerful, well-built Kshatriyas coming towards Sugriva. So Sugriva was scared. He thought they were men sent by Vali to kill him. So he sent Hanuman, said, go and find who they are. And then we know how Hanuman befriended Ram and Lakshman and got them to Sugriva. And then the whole story took place. And then when they continued traveling on that Pushpak Viman, Sri Ram continued speaking to Mother Sita and said, you see there, that's Pampa Sarovar. That's where I lived for the 4 months of Chaturmas. I was praying, sitting there, said Sri Ram, hinting and pointing towards Pampa Sarovar. And then as they crossed over Godavari, Sri Ram said, hey Sita, very close to this place is the ashram of Agastya Rishi. Sita, my heart breaks to tell you this is the place where Ravana kidnapped you. And then as the Pushpak Viman continued, Sri Ram said, do you see that place, O Sita? That is the Chitrakoot hill where we frolicked and lived for years walking through this forest. That is that hill. Do you remember? And that is the place where Bharat came to see us. And then as they continued, Ramachandra said, oh Sita, that is Ganga. Do you see that place? That is Sringverpur, where Guha, do you remember Guha? He served us when we left Ayodhya. He was the one who made all the arrangements for us, for our sleeping and drinking and eating and facilities to live there in the forest at Sringverpur on the banks of the Ganga. That's where Guha served us. So now literally Sri Ram was back counting all the places. So all the places that Sri Ram had gone through to finally reach Lanka. Now while coming back from Lanka towards Ayodhya, Sri Ram was remembering all these places. And finally, he could see the Sarayu river. And Sri Ram pointed towards Mother Sita, pointed towards Sarayu Nadi and drew the attention of Mother Sita and said, do you see there? That's the Sarayu river. That's the outskirts of Ayodhya. We are reaching there. And then as they entered the outskirts of Ayodhya, Sri Ram pointed towards Bharadwaj Rishi's ashram and told Mother Sita, we have come, welcome back. The Queen of Ayodhya, welcome back. And there, Sri Ram instructed the Pushpak Viman to land. The Pushpak Viman landed. And there, Sri Ram, he got off the Pushpak Viman and he saw Bharadwaj Rishi. Sri Ram bowed down to Bharadwaj Rishi, and Bharadwaj Rishi, with folded palms, with heart erupting in joy and ecstasy, he said, we are so fortunate to see you, my Lord. I want to tell you the condition of Bharat in separation from you, said Bharadwaj Rishi. He said, without you, Bharat has been living like a sage in a small hut. He has been growing his hair like a sage, and he's been sleeping on the floor with minimum eating, and he's wearing torn clothes. And throughout, in your separation for 14 years, he has been worshipping your slippers, your paduka. Bharadwaj Rishi at that time saw that Sri Ramchandra's eyes were filled with tears just hearing the austerity of Bharat. Bharat could have ruled as the king. But look how much the devotee is ready to go through just to give pleasure to the Supreme Lord. So Bharadwaj Rishi immediately changed the topic. And he told Sri Ram, I can see by mystic potency that you have killed many demons. And at that time, Ram smiled. And he told Bharadwaj Rishi that it is all by your blessings. Then Sri Ram looked at the monkeys and he said, I am going to ask a benediction on your behalf. And then he looked at Bharadwaj Rishi and said, can I ask you for a boon? Bharadwaj Rishi said, you can go ahead, you can ask. You have pleased me immensely. Go and ask for a boon. Say what you want and I will fulfill. And Sri Ram said, these monkeys have worked so hard for me. There's nothing that I can give them. I feel so indebted for them. The only thing I beg you, all the trees starting from here till the kingdom of Ayodhya, let them be filled with fruits and flowers and aromatic, fragrant honey dripping from them, so that the monkeys can have a feast as they come towards my kingdom. And Bharadwaj Rishi, by his mystic potency, he said, so be it. And all the trees leading up to the kingdom of Ayodhya were filled with fruits and flowers and dripping honey from all of them. And millions of monkeys, they saw this. And they were so happy. They were jumping, ready for a feast. They jumped from one branch to another, from one tree to another. And what a feast they enjoyed. At that time, Sri Ram, he told Hanuman, go and tell Guha. Go and tell Guha that I am back. Tell him that I am in the ashram of Bharadwaj Rishi. I will rest here for the night and come tomorrow to meet him. Also, Sri Ram told Hanuman, after you go and meet Guha, go and meet Bharat. Nandigram is very close from here. Go and tell him all the stories. Tell him I have returned. Tell him how we found out Mother Sita. Tell him how we fought and killed Ravana. Keep telling him all these stories one after another, O Hanuman. So on one side, Ramchandra has told Hanuman to go and tell Guha that Ram is back and he will come and see you tomorrow. And on the other side, after telling Guha, he instructs Hanuman, go and tell Bharat all the stories of Ram's return, all the stories of how we found Mother Sita and fought Ravana. Tell him about the bridge that we made. Tell him about how we killed Ravana and how we rescued Mother Sita and how we are back. But most importantly, O Hanuman, as you tell these stories to Bharat, make eye contact, look into his eyes and watch for his expressions, said Sri Ram. He said, if you spot even a tinge of desire in him that, oh, Ram is back, I wish I could continue being the king here. If he feels he wants the opulence of the place, if you feel that he wants to be the king, if you feel he would be happy holding on to the king in my absence, kingdom in my absence, then I will be very happy to give this kingdom to him. I will be very happy. But you just keep your eye contact. And as you say these stories, look for the expressions in his heart. Sri Ram actually knew the emotions of Bharat, but he wanted Hanuman to see the glories of Bharat. So that time Hanuman went to Guha, and then later he went to Bharat. He started speaking about the pastimes of Sri Ram. Bharat was so happy. He was so happy. He embraced Hanuman with tears streaming from his eyes. He couldn't believe the return of Sri Ram. He told Hanuman, I will give you 100,000 cows in charity for what you have done for Sri Ram. I will give you 100 villages in charity. And most importantly, I will give you 16 queens to get married to. Hanuman's a brahmachari. But Bharat said, I will give you 16 queens to get married to. I have been waiting to see Ram with my eyes and hear of this news with my ears. My eyes are getting flooded with tears. And Hanuman saw this, that Bharat was so selfless. He was just waiting and waiting and waiting to see Sri Ram after hearing the glorious story of the news of the return of Sri Ram. Immediately, Bharat told Hanuman, what are we wasting our time talking about? Let's make arrangement for Ram's return. Bharat ordered Shatrughna, make arrangements for Ram's welcome. Immediately, Kaushalya Devi, Kaikeyi Devi, Sumitra, Sumantra, they were all on palanquins. Of course, Sumantra was on his chariot, but all the queens were on the palanquins. And they were all preparing to leave. Bharat picked up the Paduka of Sri Ram. And between conch shell and mridangas being played for the welcome of Sri Ram, Bharat carried the Paduka of Sri Ram on his head. Roads were made from Nandigram to Ayodhya for the welcome of Sri Ram. In Ayodhya, the news spread like wildfire. Everyone waited for the return of Sri Ram for 14 years. They were all burnt in the fire of separation. And now they could see the beautiful, lovely lotus face of Sri Ram with so much happiness. With so much happiness, they were anticipating, when will that day come that Ram will return? And now that time had come. Flags and festoons were being erected in places, and music was being played. People were singing and dancing, and mantras were being sung. So much happiness all over. And at Nandigram, Bharat was waiting for Sri Ram. He was waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And finally, he looked at Hanuman. He said, please tell me, is Ram even coming? As a monkey, are you just cutting jokes with me? Are you playing with me? Are you just trying to play a prank on me? Is Ram even coming here to Nandigram? Because Hanuman and Bharat have been speaking for quite some time, but there's no news. So then Bharat was filled with so much enthusiasm. He looked at Hanuman and said, are you just joking like a monkey, or is Ram even coming in reality? Hanuman said, please have hope. Look there. The monkeys are jumping from one branch to another, eating the fruits, feasting their way towards the place. And there you see, on the Pushpak Viman, Bharat, please look up there. Sita and Ram are coming. And Bharat was so ecstatic. At that point, there were Jai Ghosh, which means everyone started saying, Siyavar Ramachandra Bhagavan Ki Jai. They were all chanting the name of Sita and Ram. And Bharat saw Sri Ram. He offered obeisances, offered his prayers. He performed arati as the Pushpak Viman landed on the floor. And then he went to touch the lotus feet of Sri Ram. Sri Ram lifted Bharat and embraced, and both of them, they had love-filled tears streaming down their cheeks, bathing each other with so much affection. Ram felt so sad looking at Bharat. Bharat had become so weak and thin. Ram's eyes were wet and moist. Bharat embraced Hanuman and said, Hanuman, I want to announce, till now we were 4 brothers, but today I announce we are actually 5 brothers. It is Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrughna and Hanuman. And Hanuman couldn't hold his tears as he embraced Bharat. Ram touched the lotus feet of all of his 3 mothers. Kaikeyi felt bad, but Ram had no bad emotions against anyone. He touched the lotus feet of all of 3 mothers, but he started by touching the lotus feet of Mother Kaikeyi. Then he touched the lotus feet of all the sages, all the older ones, everyone with so much respect. Sri Ram bowed down to everyone with so much respect. All the residents of Ayodhya had come to Nandigram, and they came there with folded palms, bowing down to Sri Ram. And some of them were even throwing their upper cloth in the air and dancing like madmen. They couldn't even believe that the day had come, and they were alive to see the return of Sri Ram. At that time, it is described as demigods from behind the clouds started showering flowers in the reunion of Ram with his devotees. Bharat picked up the garland and offered it to Sri Ram and gave the slippers back to the lotus feet of Sri Ram and said, these slippers, these padukas ruled for 14 years, my lord. And then Bharat gave an update to Sri Ram, how his kingdom was doing in his absence. He gave update of all the aspects of how the kingdom was prosperously succeeding in profit, and said, my lord, I offer everything back to you. It's your kingdom. I am now relieved. I am no longer the king. I am no longer serving on your behalf. You are my master and I'm your servant. I'm relieved of this position. At that time, Ram smiled. The Pushpak Viman, which was parked to the side, Sri Ram sent the Pushpak back to Kubera. He said, go and serve Kubera now that I have returned. Ram offered obeisances to Vasishtha Muni. And at that time, Bharata and Lakshmana also bowed down. As they started talking, Bharat became so enthusiastic. He told Ram, let us not waste too much time talking here. It's time for you to enter Ayodhya and be coronated. Let us go. And Sri Ram, happily he smiled and got up. All the little princes in different provinces on the way to Ayodhya, they all came out of their palaces, and on the path, they welcomed Sri Ram with flowers and garlands, and demigods were also in mysterious forms playing mridangas and conch shells and so many wonderful, wonderful instruments. The apsaras were dancing and the gandharvas were singing, the brahmanas were chanting Vedic mantras, and Vasishtha Muni at that time, he ordered Sita and Ram to bathe well. He told Ram that you have to wash and cut your hair. You have to cut your hair because you're in the mood of a sage. And we have to wash your hair, cut your hair nicely and then oil your hair, make your hair well for your coronation. And Sita and Ram were very well dressed and ornamented before they entered Ayodhya. Ram sat on the chariot of Sumantra, and Bharat was the chariot driver to that chariot. Sita and Ram sat on the chariot of Sumantra, and Bharat was the chariot driver. Shatrughna was holding the white umbrella over the divine couple. And Vibhishana and Lakshmana, they were offering the white chamara. And there was a big procession towards Ayodhya from Nandigram. Everyone was so happy. All the monkeys, as we know, these monkeys, they externally appear to be monkeys, but they're actually transcendental beings. They're the eternal associates of the Lord. And if you know, their parents are also like demigods. Most of their parents are demigods. So they may appear as monkey-like forms, but they have mystic potencies. And one of the mystic powers is to take any form. You see, Hanuman had also taken the form of a human being while testing Ram and Lakshman when he was sent by Sugriva. So all the monkeys now, because they have to enter Ayodhya, they cannot jump from tree to tree and bring in bad name to Ram, because the monkeys thought to themselves, the residents of Ayodhya will think this Ram, by going into the forest, has got the forest here. He has befriended all these monkeys. So the monkeys, they changed their forms into human beings. And they sat on back of royal elephants as they all entered Ayodhya. As Sita, Ram, and the associates of Sita and Ram, they entered Ayodhya. Ayodhya was lit up, dear devotees, with lamps. Ayodhya, which was in 14 years of darkness and separation from the Supreme Lord, was lit up with lamps of love to welcome Sita and Ram back as the king and queen of their hearts. The Ayodhya-vasis came there and they saw the form of Sri Ram. Ram told Bharat, actually this palace of mine should be kept for Sugriva. Bharat at that time, he told Hanuman, he told Jambavan and other monkey associates. He said, you go to the 4 big major oceans and collect water for the coronation of Sri Ram, the Rajya Abhishek. And then Bharat also sent 500 other monkeys to bring water from 500 sacred ponds around the universe for the coronation of Sri Ram. And as Sita and Ram sat on the royal throne for their coronation, as the king and queen, after returning to Ayodhya, Vashishta Muni with the other rishis, they first came and they offered pots and pots of fragrant aromatic water, bathing Sita and Ram, welcoming them in this royal Rajya Abhishek as the king and queen of Ayodhya. Then after that, many young Kanya girls, little girls, unmarried girls, they came and offered their water, their offering of love through the fragrant water on the heads of Sita and Ram. And then all the ministers came, then all the army heads came, then all the demigods came. And it's described that after that, Vashishta Muni came and he placed a royal pure gold helmet on the head of Lord Ram, which was actually personally made by Brahma for Manu. And then it carries down from one king after another in the Ikshvaku line. All the kings in the line had worn that specific pure gold helmet. And now it was placed on top of the head of Sri Ram, announcing him as the king of Ayodhya. And then Indra ordered Vayudev to offer Ram a garland of 100 lotus flowers. Then Apsaras and Gandharvas, they participated. Ramchandra gave 100,000 cows in charity. He gave 300,000 diamond rings in charity. He gave Sugriva a garland. He gave Angad a bracelet. Ram gave Mother Sita a pearl necklace, and Mother Sita immediately picked it up and as prasad put it around the neck of Hanuman. And everyone was very happy, and Ram smiled, looking at the nature of Mother Sita's heart, that what was offered to her, she offered it to Hanuman. And then it is described, looking at this very wonderful, beautiful scene. All the monkeys, they were very happy as they were gifted different return gifts on behalf of Sita and Ram. And they returned back to Kishkinda. Vibhishan returned back to Lanka. Ram stood up and announced Bharat as the next king to come after his time. Ram ruled the kingdom for 11,000 years. And in this way it is described, he did more than 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas. Ayodhya did not even know what sorrow was when Ram ruled. There was no excessive heat or no excessive cold or no excessive rain. No house in Ayodhya needed a lock because no one stole anything from anyone's home. Everyone was so self-satisfied in the Rama Rajya, in the rule of Sri Ram. And in this way, Sri Ram considered each person in Ayodhya as his own personal associate. They were all spiritually so nourished. Even the seasons were moving according to their desire. In fact, it is described by Valmiki Muni, Ramchandra had made a rule that if the residents of Ayodhya, if any of you don't want to die, you can even skip death. They all lived for thousands and thousands of years, having hundreds and hundreds of sons, and they were all very, very happy. Sri Ram in this way ruled and continues to rule the Ayodhya of our hearts. Dear devotees, this Diwali event that we externally celebrate as a place of lamps, as a festival of joy, as a festival of sweets, as a festival of lamps, as a festival of crackers, the deep significance is Ayodhya represents our heart. And it's been dark because we have been living in this material world after banishing Sita and Ram out of the Ayodhya of our heart, being conditioned souls. We have not faced our attention towards the divine couple. But now, when we have become devotees, we realize it is time for us to welcome the divine couple back into the Ayodhya of our hearts to find eternal joy and happiness. Therefore, dear devotees, Diwali, where externally we place lamps, we dispel the inner darkness by externally placing the lamps of love. That external practice is actually a result of the internal explosion of devotion. So thank you everyone for kindly joining in. This is the spiritual transcendental history from the pages of Valmiki Ramayana on the unparalleled description of Sita and Ram's nostalgic description and entrance into the city of Ayodhya. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Thank you for kindly joining in. Thank you for kindly participating. And sorry for going over time for a few minutes. Please forgive me.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Amarendra Prabhu, for that absolutely brilliant class. When I said in your introduction that we will see from you how much higher we can go in transcendental knowledge, I didn't realize this would literally be how much higher we can go in the Pushpak Viman and see what's happening there. So it fulfilled the description on multiple levels. Thank you so much for taking us on this transcendental journey of just describing that pastime right from, when Ravana was killed all the way to Sita and Ram and Lakshman and Hanuman coming to Ayodhya in such a beautiful fashion. We all felt like we were on this journey with you. We were all part of the monkey army watching Lord Ram and his whole entourage go to Ayodhya. So thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of this and sharing this class. We'd also like to take a moment to thank devotees from ISKCON of Atlanta, particularly, and of course, all other temples in North America that joined us today for this celebration. Even though we're not connected together physically, this virtual connection is so deep, and we're indebted to Amarendra Prabhu, yourself, and to all the devotees who joined us from the temples. If it's okay, with your permission, Amarendra Prabhu, we'll just ask devotees if you'd like to turn on your cameras for a few minutes, just, clap your hands, say thank you to Prabhu. We'll only do this for 30 seconds or so because we still have some more programs after this class. So turn on your camera.
Thank you so much, Amarendra Prabhu. We're so elated.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare
So
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Amarendra Prabhu.
Dono. Both of them have grown
Hare
up.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Have a great Diwali.
Happy Diwali.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Happy Diwali.
Thank you, everyone. Hariva.
Hari Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Happy Diwali.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, so cute.
Hare Krishna.
Happy Diwali, Prabhuji.
Well, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hariva.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Happy
Hare
Diwali.
Krishna. Happy Diwali.
Thank you so much again, Amarendra Prabhu.
Thank you.
Devotees, in case you
Hare Krishna.
wasn't enough for you, which obviously it was amazing nectar, but if you are still greedy and after eating all the Diwali sweets and the goodies, you still feel like you want some more nectar, definitely come by tomorrow because we will be celebrating Govardhan Puja here tomorrow, and we are extremely excited that Amarendra Prabhu will be speaking to us tomorrow on Krishna's pastime. So after hearing Lord Ram's pastime today, it's going to be so nectarian to hear Krishna's pastimes tomorrow. It'll start at 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central, so that's 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern. And then after that, we will be doing Govardhan Arti and some more Kirtan to celebrate Govardhan Puja. So we look forward to all of you joining us tomorrow. Again, thank you so much, Amarendra Prabhu. We will see you in less than 24 hours, which is so exciting to say. Jai, thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. For everybody else staying, please don't drop off. We have some more exciting things coming up. We are going to shortly start our Damodar Aarti. But before Damodar Aarti, just a few other quick announcements. This is Diwali. This is the Festival of Light. And this is an opportunity for us to share. We want to share so many things with our friends and family. On behalf of ISKCON BBT, ISKCON North America, and BBT Global, they're giving an idea on something that you all can share today. So we're going to do a quick video here so you can see one of the things that if you'd like to share. This video is in Hindi, but it has subtitles in English. So for those of you who don't know Hindi, you should be able to follow along with the subtitles.
ये फुलझड़ियों के टिमटिमाते तारे, ये तारों की चादर पर रिमझिमाते पटाखे, ये पटाखों की आवाज, उन आवाजों में अपनों से मुलाकात शायद मुमकिन नहीं लगती इस दिवाली। ये नए कपड़े पहनने की उमंग, उस उमंग में मिठाइयों का स्वाद, उस स्वाद में महकती खुशियां शायद मुमकिन नहीं लगती इस दिवाली। उजालों से पहचानी जाती ये दिवाली, अंधेरों को चिंगारियों से चीरती ये दिवाली। इस दिवाली आओ मिलकर ज्ञान का दिया जलाएं, खुद की खुद से पहचान करवाएं, क्योंकि इस दिवाली ये मुमकिन है।
इस दिवाली गीता बांटो और गीता अपनाओ, सबके जीवन में ज्ञान का दीपक जलाओ। विश्व गीता दिवस 25 दिसंबर।
If you're thinking on what to give Diwali as a gift and you're not really sure, the most beautiful gift you can give on Diwali this year is the Bhagavad Gita. If you'd like to take Gitas to give to your family or friends, please let us know here at ISKCON of Round Rock. And if you'd like to sponsor a box of books so we can place Gitas on your behalf, please let us know. Again, you can message in the chat, you can private message us on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you'd like to communicate with us. We will be more than happy to share Gitas on your behalf to your friends and family and to people you may not know as well. With that, our next part of the program is going to be our Damodar Aarti. Before we start our Damodar Aarti, for those of you who joined a little late, we had a small presentation earlier that spoke about the pastime of Krishna that led to Damodar Aarti. And as Amarendra Prabhu said, today Damodar Aarti is even more special because the actual day of Krishna breaking the pots and Mother Yashoda tying Krishna to the mortar is actually on this day of Diwali. So we have one quick video from one of our Bhakti Vidya Sunday School families, Priyanshu and Nirja Mataji, that shows this exact pastime. So I'm going to go ahead and share that video here, and then we'll get ready for doing Damodar Aarti.
Oh, the milk is boiling. Butter. Feed some to monkeys. Monkey feeding. Krishna, I just went for 1 minute. And what are you doing? You have spilled all the butter and given it to monkeys also? Wait. Wait. Wait.
after Krishna has now done running away, we'll find out what happens after this while we hear the beautiful Damodarashtakam prayer. So with that, we will be, Devaki and family will be singing Damodarashtakam prayers, and we will be seeing the Damodar Arti at Vaman Hari Prabhu's house. After Damodarashtakam, we will do Nashinga prayers. So please stay around for that. Devaki, whenever you're ready. जाए राम में रोम रोम इस रोम रोम में राम रहे हो जाए राम में रोम रोम इस रोम रोम में राम रहे हो जाए राम में रोम रोम इस रोम रोम में राम रहे हो जाए राम में रोम रोम इस रोम रोम में राम रहे मेरे राम रहे सिया 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 राम रहे हो जाए राम में रोम रोम इस रोम रोम में राम रहे हो जाए राम में रोम रोम इस रोम रोम में राम रहे 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 मेरे राम रहे सिया 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 राम रहे हो जाए राम में रोम रोम इस रोम रोम में राम रहे बस यही चाहता हूँ तुमसे ये है तुम्हारा नाम रहे बस यही चाहता हूँ तुमसे ये है तुम्हारा नाम रहे बस यही चाहता हूँ तुमसे बस यही चाहता हूँ तुमसे बस यही चाहता हूँ तुमसे ये है तुम्हारा नाम रहे हो जाए राम में रोम रोम इस रोम रोम में राम रहे मेरे राम रहे सिया 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 राम रहे हैप्पी दिवाली
Happy Diwali.
Thank you so much, Sridev Ki, Janvi, Manisha Mataji, and Chaitanya Chankapu for that beautiful rendition of Damodarashtakam and the prayer after that. I have never heard Damodarashtakam sung like this, so really beautiful. Thank you so much for that. With that, we will do Nashinga prayers. Before we get on to Nashinga prayers, as we had kind of shared in various WhatsApp channels, this past Friday, we lost two very great Srila Prabhupada disciples, Mother Krishna Nandini, who's based here in the US, who is this very senior disciple of Prabhupada, got initiated here in Dallas. Mother Krishna Nandini is known worldwide for her very powerful classes. She was part of the ISKCON's Grahastha Vision team, and in her many years has actively helped coach, mentor, and train many Grahastha couples. She was a very powerful speaker, and her loss is going to be felt by many of us, and we really will miss Mother Krishna Nandini. And then we also heard the news late yesterday about the passing of His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Goswami Maharaj, who passed away in the morning due to a cardiac arrest. We had talked about both of them in our announcements last Sunday to pray for both of them as their health wasn't doing too well. So yesterday on November 14th, both of them went back to serve Srila Prabhupada in the spiritual world. Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj is one of the early disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and he started one of ISKCON's first university teaching programs in California, which included University of San Francisco, Berkeley, and he was responsible for helping open the temple in Berkeley, California in '69. And then he's primarily in the last couple of years been based out of the Punjabi Bagh temple in West Delhi and has been traveling in India extensively to help preach. So today when we chant Nashinga prayers, we will be chanting for everyone, of course, in this time of difficulty in general, to bring more light and Nashinga Dev to bless us for our spiritual growth. But please say a special prayer for Mother Krishna Nandini and her entire family, and of course, His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj, and that they're for their smooth journey back to Godhead. Gopal Bhal Prabhu, whenever you're ready.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladadadayine. Praladadadayine. Hiranyakasipurvakshaha. Narsimha Parato Narsimha Yato Yato Yamitato Narsimha Gahe Narsimha Gahe Narsimha Narasimha Dahim Saranam Prapade Avakara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Sringam Kalita Hiranyakasipu Tanubringam Ekavadesha Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Jagadesha Hare Avakara Kamalavare Naka Adbhuta Sringam Lalita Hiranyakasipu Tanubringam Ekavadesha Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Jagadesha Hare Jaya Jagadesha Hare Kesavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Kesavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Narsimha Dev 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 Jaya Narsimha Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Bhakta Prahlad 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 Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Lakshmi Narasimha ki jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. And again, thank you everyone for joining today in this wonderful celebration of Diwali. Again, we wish for you and your family to have a blessed Diwali this year and spending more time now after hearing Amarendra Prabhu's class to go deeper into this pastime of Lord Ram. And we look forward to seeing each and every one of you tomorrow for our Govardhan Puja celebration. If you did not receive our WhatsApp message about this, we are we're hoping and loving to see different devotees' altars, their Govardhana offerings, like what we did for Janmashtami this year. So if you'd like to sign up to share the offerings from your home, I'm just going to paste the link there. Please sign up here. Please sign up on this link, and you are able to then sign up. So we'll be able to visit your house tomorrow during our Govardhan Arti, so we can get to see everybody's beautiful offerings, their hills, whatever your altars, whatever you'd like to share with us tomorrow. So we look forward to seeing every one of you tomorrow. And again, on behalf of ISKCON of Round Rock, I'd like to wish each and every one of you a very happy, safe, and a blessed Diwali. Hare Krishna.